Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to watch the two kind of starter videos for this section. One of them is about starting with why, and the other one is about essentialism. And so in this first concept, Simon Sinek talks about the idea of how organizations can often talk about what they do. So in this example of schools, like, we educate children, and how we do it might be we do project-based learning. But the important part that we're missing in those two things is what's the reason why we're doing it in the first place. And what his major point is the why is the more powerful part and the more motivating part of guiding people and guiding teams and guiding ideas and resonating. And so what we need to do is start with the internal and really focus on the why we're doing something, and then move to the how we're going to do it and what we're going to do exactly. And so the second video was all about essentialism, and I love this book. I've been reading it a lot lately, and even rereading it, because I think the idea of being able to boil down to the essence of things is really important. And I think projects in particular are prone to getting distracted by all kinds of possibilities and different things, and as the concepts in essentialism help you cut through that. He talks about the disciplined pursuit of less, and this idea of less but better. So if we cut away all the things that are not essential to the project's success, then often you're going to get a better kind of end result. And there's lots of ways that he suggests doing that in the book, but it's an idea to think about. Is for any given thing that comes up, can you eliminate it, and will the project still be good if you do? And that gets into the kind of importance of saying no. And I've been involved in lots of projects that did not do this very well. Even at the start of my experience in building a school, we wanted to be all things to everybody, and we said yes a lot, and we said yes to everything we could, and that didn't help us in the long run. And it was many years later where we decided to really focus in on our why and start to say no more, and things got a lot better, and we were able to kind of focus and achieve what we were hoping to achieve. The last one that's a concept that he talks about in the book, he doesn't really touch on it much in the video, but it's this idea of essential intent. And this really connects back to the start with why idea. And it's that, one decision that eliminates 1,000 other decisions, which is awesome. So if you could really focus in what you're trying to do, then often that ends up kind of getting you out of, making a whole bunch of other decisions, right? And he talks about it in terms of this kind of quadrant framework here. And so on one, he has kind of inspirational and bland, and general and concrete. And so if you think about the things you're probably aware of, like mission and vision, well, that's my why, right? And the problem with missions and visions is not that they're not useful, but they're very general. They're inspirational. We want to improve the world's children in schools, and that's a great message, very inspirational, but you're like, how do I do that? How are we doing that? What are we doing specifically? And then there's this idea of values, and again, not being critical of having values, but they're kind of a little bit bland, and I'm not really sure, yes, we want to be good people, but how does that relate to the project and the work that we're doing specifically? And then there's something that's, very specific, but also bland. It's like the idea of well, what are we doing this term? What are our goals this term? So not super inspirational, but it's just very concrete, right? And so when we can get concrete and inspirational, then we're starting to kind of focus in on our essential intent. And that can be a powerful tool in helping to cut a whole bunch of things out. So it might be in an online world, we want to connect, maybe you're a virtual school, and we want to educate 1,000 disenfranchised kids over the next 2 years. So there's some kind of inspiration. It's a lofty goal, maybe for a small organization, but it's very specific and concrete, and allows everybody to focus in. So that's a question I kind of put out to you. What could be your decisions that you decide to focus in on that helps to eliminate those 1,000 other decisions? So what happens if I don't? So this is all about establishing a clear purpose. At the end, depending on the size of the project, if it's a little project, it's a sentence or two. What are we trying to achieve? If it's a school, it might be a little bit more, something. If it's a bigger project, it might be a little bit more. But what happens if we don't have that? And I want to kind of describe this scenario here. So let's say we have our team, and they're working towards a goal. And we start with a sort of clear purpose, but it's not 100%. And what that means is everybody has their own idea of what that purpose is, and they might be similar but slightly different. And this is an experience I've experienced multiple times, where everybody has the right intent but sort of different ideas, and they're all kind of going off in different directions. And ultimately, a project is a series of decisions. So every decision you make has the potential of like steering the project in the right direction or in a different direction, maybe the wrong direction. And so if everybody has a different idea, they all kind of go off in different directions. And every decision that gets made can kind of steer them on more and more off course. And the reality of a project is the tornado. So the storm's coming, there's all kinds of pressures. Chaos is inevitable. We need to embrace that idea, and we need to figure out how to kind of keep that in track, right? So some of those things are like lots of questions will come up, which things weren't clear at the start about how you're going to do things or what you're going to be doing and everything else. And so those kind of start steering things off in the wrong direction. And there's also this idea of scope creep. So that idea of trying to be everything for everyone. So all these additions kind of come that you didn't necessarily foresee. And so every time in this kind of environment, every time we make a decision to do something or not do something, we're kind of moving forward. And if we don't have a clear purpose, then everybody's making that up themselves, and essentially in the end could be off in way different directions and working towards different things. And the bigger the difference between all these different ideas, I think in my experience, the more friction there is on a given project. So instead, let's think of a scenario that looks more like this. We have our team still, but we really like spend time at the start of the project, and we really all get on the same page. So we understand what the clear purpose of this project is. And so now when we start making decisions, we're starting off heading in the right direction at least. And then the inevitable tornado comes, and the chaos starts, and project potential additions and questions and things that weren't clear all comes up. But now we have the opportunity to kind of keep continually steering things towards that clear purpose. And that's what we want to try to do. So the chaos will happen in general, and you can't stop that. But having a real clear purpose helps to kind of help push through. And when things get hard, helps to kind of understand what you're trying to do, so that you don't end up getting pushed off or blown off course in a way that's unnatural and not really kind of achieving your final goal. So I love this kind of quote that I wanted to kind of leave you with on this section, is this idea of being Jeff Bezos uses he's the CEO of Amazon, and he talks about it a lot. But you need to be stubborn on the vision and flexible on the details, and I love that. So if you're starting a school and you have lofty goals and you really have a vision you want to achieve, then you should be really stubborn on that. What you shouldn't be stubborn on necessarily is the how you're going to do things and why. You want to kind of be flexible there and listen to the team and move around, but we want to kind of focus in on that vision and keep that in mind so that we can get through the hard times. And the other part of this is we're going to talk about an agile mindset in the next section. And if you do not have a clear purpose, it's almost impossible to operate in this way. And you're going to see the benefits of being agile and operating in using agile methods. And so in order to do that, you really need to have a clear purpose, so that each iteration of your project will get closer and closer to that clear purpose.